guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing great, keeping safe and healthy. If you're a newcomer here, or if this is your first time watching my channel or my videos, you're highly welcome into my channel. And please don't go without subscribing to this channel because I have so many interesting things I will be telling you. But before going to that, I want you to subscribe and put on your post notification. So every time I upload a new video, you're going to get notified. And if you've been watching my videos so far, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your effort. I'm really grateful. Every subscription matters. So on today's video, I'm going to be talking about the timing in Bahrain. Okay, we're going to be talking about the work timing. So you living from Asia, you living from Africa, you shouldn't think you're coming to die here. Okay, there are certain things you should not just accept. First, before you get a job or before you start working, you have something they call the employment letter and you have the contract letter. So you have the contract which comes from the labor office where they can process your visa and everything. And then you have the contract between you and the boss. This is you and your employer. This is between you. And now you have a contract between you, the employer, and the labor office. The labor office, it's aimed to regulate the laws that abide to both the employer and the employee. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the timing today. I had a friend who came to Bahrain and she was working for 15 hours. It is wrong. It is so wrong. Normally, you're supposed to work for 8 hours and you're supposed to work for 6 days. That is 6 working days. That is, you're supposed to work from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, you're supposed to get off because on Friday we have let's say this is their own Sunday, they go to the mosque and pray. Saturday you work and then Sunday. So you have 6 working days, you have one resting day. But for the Balinese, they have two off days. That's the Friday and the Saturday. But for you, Christian, you're supposed to have one day off. So you're supposed to work for 6 days. Okay. So what happened is she was working for 15 hours and she didn't have off. And they were not paying her for the extra hours she was working. So she came and complained to me and was like, Van, I'm working, I don't have extra hours, and they're not paying me for these hours. And then I told her, how many hours are you working? She said 15 hours. I said, okay. How many hours did you sign on your contract? She said she signed 9 hours. Because by the labor law, you're supposed to work for 8 hours, 1 hour break. So you're supposed to work for 8 hours and 1 hour break. But some companies choose to give you 10 hours and 1 hour break. So you work for 9 hours. For example, like restaurants, you tend to work for a longer hour. What I want to advise you on this working hour is that labor office gives 8 hours for you to work. Now your employer, the employer has 1 hour on its own. This is what I know. So the employer's 1 hour means you work 9 hours. Anything after 9 hours is overtime, and it is obligatory for your employer to pay you. Now, we don't want it's not about you fighting your employer or talking back at your employer, but there is a way you talk to your employer to bring it to his or her understanding. A lot of people will turn to want to use you if you don't have the mouth to speak, or you don't have a way to talk, or you don't bring it to the table. If you don't bring it to the table, means you're very comfortable with it, right? So okay, fine, she's okay with it, so I'm not going to talk about it. You cannot work for 15 hours every day and you're going to work every day. You're not a machine, you're going to break down. You need obviously off time, and the hours of working need to be reduced unless you accept to work for these hours and then you are paid for extra time. If you're not paid for extra time, okay, now you have to bring the terms and conditions to your boss. Now, one thing a lot of us Africans face or fear is we think our boss are not going to listen to us or they are going to eat us up when we talk about it. No. My first boss I worked with here in Bahrain was a Bahraini man. Yeah, I worked with a Bahraini man, and trust me, this is one of the best people I've ever worked with. So when I came into the company, he told me, well, our working hour is from this time to this time. So For me, I'm so brave. I ask my question. I'm not scared. I'm just like, okay, if I lose this job, I lose the job, but I'm not going to sit quiet. And even the Bible say, "Ask and it shall be given unto you." So if you don't ask, it cannot be given to you. You have to ask. So he told me we're going to work in 9 hours, and no, my other colleagues were working 12 hours without payment. So they were complaining to me like, "Oh, we're working 12 hours." I say, "You're working 12 hours without payment because you want to work the 12 hours without payment. I'm working 9 hours, and my additional 1 hour, he pays me for my additional 1 hour. It's not like we have anything." Or I was working with another Cameroon guy, so our restaurant used to be so busy. I mean, so busy. We used to have sales. So sometimes he used to give us half off. So you go out, maybe you enjoy yourself, and you come back to work. Maybe by 4, you work from 4 to 12. So we used to work half off, and that half off he pays us. And the others were not paying them. Do you know why? Because we're not talking. So I'm not saying you should disrespect your boss or anything, but what I'm trying to bring to your notice is when you sign a contract with your boss, be clear with what you are signing. And if it's not moving according to how it's supposed to move, bring your boss back and tell your boss, okay, boss, this is not what we agreed. Please, you have to fix this. You have to do this. See, we are all human. He or she is going to understand. Okay? He or she is going to understand. So if you're working to tell boss, this is too much. I'm tired. I'm breaking down. Can you at least reduce this hour of working? Can you at least pay me for this overtime? It's not easy. Now, if your boss does not want to understand or compile with you, you take this to the labor office. Now, the reason why I'm telling you to take this to the labor office is not like you want to bring problem to your boss, but you already explain this to your boss in a very understanding manner. Make sure to do this in a very understanding manner, in a very polite manner. And before even going to the labor office, make sure you're a good staff. Make sure you're working on time. Make sure you're wearing your uniform. Make sure you're doing all the proper things. Now you take this complaint to the labor office. One good thing about the labor office is they don't discriminate between Africans or Bahraini. If you're Bahraini, you're Bahraini. If you're an African, you're African. And trust me, you don't say, okay, because she's a Bahraini, we are going to side to the Bahraini. No, the labor office is there to make sure the rules and regulation between the employer and the employees are being respected. So now, if you bring this to the labor office and they see that, okay, what you're saying is true, the employer doesn't pay you, or the employer wants you to work overtime. Trust me, the employer is going to pay for all your overtime you have been working. The employer is going to pay for all the stress and everything you have been going through. And now, if the employer gets mad at you for you reporting, if it's a very understanding employer, he or she will not allow it to reach that stage. But if it's an employer who wants to bring trouble to you, okay, he'll say, okay, go ahead. And now he or she might get a fine to pay, or he's going to pay you for all the work labor you have been doing. You're not a machine, you came here to work, and yeah, of course, you need your payment, you need your rest. Because if you don't rest, you're not going to have that force to be doing the same work over and over. So now let me bring you back. Your working hour in Bahrain. I don't know about other countries, but um I've been to Bahrain, I've been to Dubai. So I think their working hours are the same, and the rules and regulation that abide to these two, they are the same. So for Bahrain, the working hour it's 8 hours. Some employers tend to give 9 hours. It's okay to add 1 hour. So after 9 hours of working, the next hour of working, it's called the overtiming. He or she is eligible to pay you. Don't be scared to ask. You don't have horns. He or she is eligible for a payment. They have to pay you for your overtiming. And now you have 7 days in a week, so you work for 6 days. The seventh day you don't have an off. It's either he chooses to pay you for that off day you have worked, or they are going to double your off for you. So why I'm bringing this to the notice, because I had this my friend who just brought it to my notice. Like, Vanessa, make a video about this. A lot of Africans don't know about it. So I'm bringing it to your notice, guys. Don't be scared, okay? The Bahraini people are very nice and they are not going to eat you. You just have to get a very polite and a very diplomatic way to bring this issue to their table. So whatever they want to do, each They said like I particular or like I personally would tell you a contract is between two parties, not between one party. If it doesn't if you think this contract you cannot really take it, okay, it's now your choice to either bring it to a very understanding way between you and your um employer, or you choose to resign and get something better for yourself. There are so many opportunities out here. Don't get stuck in one and you feel so frustrated and you cannot have peace. We left home to hustle, but the fact we left home to hustle does not mean you shouldn't get peace. Peace of mind is number one. If you don't have peace of mind, it kills, like, stress and everything. It kills so fast. So I'll bring it to your notice. Make sure this is your timing. Before you sign any contract, read the terms and conditions very well. Understand it. Have any question, ask your employer. Yes, the person who employs you, ask your employer. Make sure you understand it. If it's not moving the way it has to be, you leave. Okay? Don't get yourself into trouble or into any deep shit because you didn't understand what the employer said. So let me educate you again about this timing. Your timing should be 8 hours, but in case the employer says 9 hours, it's okay. But after 9 hours, he or she is eligible or is abide to pay you for that extra hour. And if you're working 7 days a week, the seventh day you work, he or she is supposed to pay you or give you a double off for the upcoming week. So, guys, don't get it mixed up and don't be scared to meet your employer to ask whatever questions you have to ask. Okay, I'm here to guide you. I'm not a consultant, I'm just a normal worker like all of you. But I get to understand the rules. Before I sign, I get to read everything concerning the law, labor laws and the contract forms and everything. So I don't want you to get everything mixed up in your head. I want you to understand everything. Okay. I don't do visas. Somebody came and asked me again. But this I don't do visas. No, I only know the guides in which you can do visas. Okay. I don't do visas. So if you've been watching the video from the beginning to end, please do not go without giving me a thumbs up if this was educative or informative to you. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Please don't forget to share, and please subscribe if you haven't. And also tell other people to subscribe to Nessa's Fantasy because I have more and more and more educative things to always educate my people. Okay, so I'll see you again in my next video. This is the end and the final of my video. Bye bye.